Four-Leaf Clover podcast is sponsored by Planet Celtic.
The boys are back. How are we getting on? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Friday Focus Show on the Four-Leaf Clover podcast. And Kaiser, it's magic, mate.
Exactly. I sent it into the group chat, didn't I, mate? I was singing along when O struck. I was like, it's like that so often, innit? We get players who leave, and when O was at us, he showed potential. I was like, some of the things he done in that, he showed boundless potential. But we just don't have the patience to let players develop like that. Maybe if we'd have sent him out on loan and then brought him back, would have been a better option than selling him. But I can see why the board just snatched at the £5 million for him and thought, right, get him off the books, get him out the road, get the $5 million for him. But seen bids coming in for him there in the summer window, up to 12 million and things like that. And I was like,
20 odd, I think it was, mate. 20 odd.
20 odd was it? Jeez, maybe I get a hold of him,
Absolutely mental. I think he scored one, missed a penalty, and I think he had one chucked off or something like that. So he could have had the match ball. Unbelievable. So, how's your week been, mate?
Aye, superb, my man. As I was saying just before we came in there, I've got a wee cough and a runny nose, some sort of bug, probably, for the transition of the weather, getting a bit colder over here, you know what I mean, into the winter. So I'll mute that mic down every time I've got to cough, mate. I don't want to cough all over the top of everything. But it's me and you tonight, mate. Two-man team. The dynamic duo. The masters of disaster.
That's it, mate. a couple of late call-offs. And I've got our Jerry as well, mate. He's, for those that don't know, he's on a wee Mediterranean cruise at the minute. He was up in Bilbao a couple of days ago at the old San Mamés Stadium. I've been there myself, and it is a wonderful, wonderful sight. There he is there outside the San Mamés in Bilbao. And today he arrived, he's there with his old dad in Deportivo La Coruña. So our Jerry is sporting the hoops as he goes along in all his wee pit stops. It's good to see him out enjoying himself, Kaiser.
Yeah, it is, mate. It is. Jerry's an absolute legend. As I said, I had the privilege of meeting up with Andy outside Paradise and then Jerry after that, and I was meant to meet Paddy as well, but I missed him. But as I was saying there, mate, I've got a ticket for the Hibs game. My mate is going on holiday to Turkey, so I've got the next two games. I've got the European game as well. I didn't go and buy the ticket, I gave it for nothing, mate, so I'm gone, right? Don't fucking judge me.
You better not be supporting that board, mate. We'll get onto that later on. I saw quite a few things have been happening. We've missed quite a few pods recently because, you know, life takes over sometimes and life comes first. Before the podcast.
Scotty. I was in protesting at Ibrox. I got my poster.
I'm surprised you don't get that behind you, mate. So we'll start off as ever, ladies and gentlemen. Brendan Rodgers had his usual Friday press conference. And Kaiser, he came away with a few things today. He did get asked about the fans' action that's coming up. We will get into that later on. And it sort of came out, I think, roughly as he was having his press conference. So, rightly so, he said he hadn't seen it yet, and so he didn't know what was going on. But we will come into it later. But a few other things he spoke about. Daizen Maeda was mentioned. He's went off the boil quite a bit recently, mate. Sort of fell off a cliff, really, since the Player of the Year awards. He hasn't really got gone this season at all. Let's start with him, mate. What's your thoughts on Daizen Maeda? Is he either working his ticket? Is he elsewhere? What's going on with Daizen Maeda?
It seems very much that's the case, doesn't it, Scotty? Like, don't get me wrong, right, mate? Brendan's system and the way Brendan plays, it's been the death of many a good striker. You get isolated up there, you don't receive the ball a lot. It's all running, pressing, dropping deep and trying to initiate play. I don't think that really suits Maeda. He's a pace merchant, isn't he? He's a player who likes the ball in behind and likes to run onto it. For me, mate, there's a bit of, some have called him A, some have called him B. Of course, his head's going to have been turned in January there. He thought he was leaving. He'd agreed a deal with better wages, a different, maybe came to the end of his life cycle at Celtic. He's been here a few years now, and maybe he was wanting to go. And I don't think the press helped, mate, because they're they're trying to make a mountain out of a molehill every time Brendan's asked about it, if he's substituted, if he's took off. It's like they just look for that tiniest opportunity to get their fingernails under the floorboards, and they start pulling it up, and he's never going to settle and get back to business, right? If he's not left alone about it. Brendan being asked at every single opportunity, or is that because his head's been turned? Is that because he's went away? I think it's pretty evident that he'll be going in January, and I think Brendan will need to just be sitting down and talking to Dyson and saying to him, look, I know you had your heart set on this particular move that came up there in the summer, but who knows what move's going to be waiting for you in January? No other clubs have been alerted to the fact that you are going to be moving. Who knows what offer's going to come in? Who knows what team's going to come in? Don't have your heart set on this one team who's come in and throw the toys at the pram. Play your best football, play the best you can, and earn yourself as good a move as you can possibly earn. Go to a better side in a different league. It might not always be just the English Premiership. These options to go to Germany, Italy. The world is your oyster. You know what I mean? The world is his oyster. So just don't get bogged down in the monotony of it and being disappointed that you never got the move away, really. But get it together, you know what I mean, and start playing. Earn yourself as good a move as possible, and earn the club as much money as possible as well.
Yeah, I think Brendan sort of touched on it a few weeks ago that he brought in the two left wingers, Balikwisha and Taneke. He brought the two boys in thinking Maeda, was going to go. And it turns out that he hasn't. So, I mean, I don't think he's ever going to replace this new boy Taneke on the wing, who's started off phenomenally for us. And he doesn't look like he's comfortable through the middle at all with the way we play football. And that was evident on Wednesday night when Iheanacho came on and totally changed the game. Maeda was completely anonymous again. It's a tough one, mate. We have spoken on this pod about him previously that he is irreplaceable. But it's getting to the stage now for me that he's not irreplaceable. I think I'd be quite happy to see him go in January now, whereas in the summer I would have been devastated if he left, with the way he finished the season. But he's definitely down tools, mate. And another player is one of his Japanese colleagues who's not had a good start to the season either. And Brendan mentioned him. It looks like he's going to be out tomorrow, but I think if he wasn't injured anyway, mate, I think another guy who'd have his position on a sugary peg is Hatate.
Yeah, definitely.
It looks like he's going to be out tomorrow. And, it gives Engels, it gives Bernardo, it gives McCowan. It gives these guys a chance. We've got three brilliant players sitting there waiting in the wings. And I think this might be the chance for Engels to come back into the team.
Yeah, definitely, mate. We've all been calling for it for a couple of weeks. Sometimes I say, like, you can get a world-class Hatate or you can get Clarty Hatate. He just walks about. He's not really involved. Wondering if his head's been turned, the fact that Dyson's getting away. And like you said yourself, mate, Dyson's in that sort of grey zone where you either leave a legend or you hang around long enough to become the villain. And I think with the revelations of him requesting a move and wanting a move and us being kept in the dark about lots of these facts by the club, it's never really conducive. It's one of the main reasons that we're demonstrating, protesting, and we're angry fans and that. One of the main things there is the communication for the club. Like I've said that several times, Celtic treat the support like mushrooms, mate. They keep us in the dark and feed us bullshit. Just utterly, press releases are a joke, AI generated, no feeling, no emotion. Brendan's out telling us that these businessmen, bleed green blood, must have been in for a few transfusions then, the amount of green blood they're bleeding, mate, because I just don't see it. They're heartless businessmen, bogged down in jargon, and look, no wonder Dyson Maeda maybe wanting a move. He feels like it's time to freshen it up. And the same with Rio Hatate as well. He's been for here the same period of time as Dyson Maeda. So perhaps Hatate, I've definitely been calling for him to be dropped. Brendan, stick by him. Sometimes you get a patch like that for players and you keep playing them and they play through that patch and become good again. And other times you just need to remove them for the squad, mate, and allow them to build themselves back into the squad. For me, Arne Engels plays some of his best football on Rio Hatate's side. He's kind of numb on the right-hand side of midfield. I'm not overwhelmed when I see him and buoyed and encouraged that Engels is over on the right-hand side, but when I see him on the left-hand side, I'm like, he plays a lot better there, and it gives us the option of still keeping Nygren in the midfield as well. And you're spot on, mate. We brought in 2 left wingers when we needed a left winger and a right winger. But we brought in 2 left wingers because full expectation was that Aizen Maeda was going. And that, again, throws into a stark contrast of how exactly were our board equipping us for Europe? How were they equipping us for European football when our best players were going out the door towards the end of the window and they were bringing no one in? They were scrambling for free transfers and then Brendan's Rolodexes again to bring in a player. These are some of the things that we're unhappy about, Scotty, mate. And just because we get a wee run of results and a couple of fresh shoots of recovery in that in the games that we've seen here, it doesn't mean it puts that anger away. There's still a lot of angry people out there. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to go away. Like you said yourself, mate, Brendan touched on it in his presser. He knows there's demonstrations and remonstrations. He knows it's coming for the fans. He doesn't know exactly what it is. He's not got the memo yet that people have shared out on the affirmative action, what we're going to be doing, the silence and stuff like that. But he'll know about it now. And as you said yourself, mate, perhaps Hatate picking up a little knock, or maybe that's Brendan covering for him because he definitely needed rotated, shall we say, if not dropped. Drop's a very 1990s, 1980s style of dealing with a player, and they've got fragile egos nowadays, mate. So he definitely needed a bit of squad rotation, and Hatate needed to be rotated to the bench and not in the midfield. You know what I mean? Just definitely looking that way for me.
Bang on, mate, bang on. And another player that was mentioned was young Colby Donovan. Now, talking about rotation, Brendan is a massive fan of him, as is everybody else. You know, the boy's been, he's been brilliant since he came in. It's his Kieran Tierney moment, innit? He was a third choice right back. The 2 in front of him get injured, he comes in and he does the business. So does he keep the jersey? This is what Brendan was talking about. Tony Ralston is back in training now. And he said that he's not just played the last 3 games, Donovan, he's actually just played 2 international games as well. So he might have to wrap him up in cotton wool tomorrow against Hibs and bring Tony Ralston back in. But let's have a quick chat about Colby Donovan, mate. He's been sensational since he's come in, hasn't he, the boy?
Yeah, exactly, Scotty, mate. I mean, Ralston's there. He's ever present. You know exactly what you get for Ralston. You get hard work, endeavour, a solid defender, maybe not cutting edge going forward, but he certainly knows how to cross the ball. He can hit the byline and cross the ball. You see that often for Ralston. He's not exactly got the craft and guile with a skillful player beating players on the wing, but he's definitely got the hard work and the running. I think with Donovan coming in, mate, and as soon as I seen him come in his first game, I was like, Colby Donovan and his tricolour dream coat, you know what I mean? My man's got a dream and he's living it. He certainly came in. Some players falter under that pressure, and he's not. He's thrived. What do you learn by playing Ralston? What do we learn that we don't know? Well, what have we learned by playing Donovan? We've learned that he can cope at international level, he can cope at European level. Not only cope, mate, but he was actually thriving in the games that I've watched him play. He's played really, really well, and in my opinion, it's his shirt now to lose.
He always goes forward, mate. He never goes back. That's what I like about him. He's always gone forward.
It's firmly, mate, it's his shirt. Ralston coming back in, even Alistair Johnston when he comes back as well. I think maybe be AJ when he comes back in full recovery, and then Colby Donovan, and then Ralston will be bumped down to our third choice right back, mate, realistically. But that's no slight on Ralston. It's really tight for competition in that back position there. And it's always good to see a youngster coming through at Celtic, especially somebody that we've developed ourselves in that through the academy. We're always talking about it. We're always saying it doesn't happen often enough. Pardon me. Where are the world-class players in Scotland? Where have we lost them all? They've all fell in the back of a sofa. They're busy getting mad with it at the weekend and going out with their pals. They've not got the commitment that's needed to become professional athletes nowadays. So something we need to get back to, mate, and start developing our own players. So it's always fantastic to see a young player coming through, especially when he's thriving the way Donovan is playing so well.
Aye, it's quite exciting really when you see these boys coming through, your Dane Murrays, your Donovans. You know, our defence soon could be Donovan, Murray and KT that all come through, you know. So, I mean, that's what Celtic's all about. That's what we want to see. That's why we've built Barrowfield and Lennoxtown and all these things to bring these boys through. And aye, the boys staying very, very well. So the last thing that Brendan was asked about, and he sort of gave it the cold shoulder really, was his contract. Still, you know, we're in September, end of September, nearly October, and he's still not been offered a new deal. So, I mean, what's your thoughts on that, Kaiser?
It's that old, like we say, mate, before the first transfer window, it's that catch-22 situation. really allowed ourselves to get bogged down in that, and so the board actually, they get bogged down in that. What's the point of equipping the team according to Brendan's vision of how Celtic should play and his style of player if Brendan's not going to be here more than just this season? Well, the long and short of that is, mate, he doesn't take the players with him when he leaves. They don't drop off a cliff. They're still assets for the club. They're still in the building. For me, I think Brendan's got every right to play his cards close to his chest. I think the board absolutely sold him down the river in the last transfer window, stripping the squad of all our assets, not allowing us to build for a position of strength. It's engineered decline, mate. It's what they do every so often. They tailor our expectations. They limit the fans and what we dream of. They try and curtail our dreams and cauterise us and cut us down to our level and put us in our place. I think we should have been what we achieved last year in the Champions League. We should have took that as the new precipice. That's the new, you draw a line under that and you go, right, we never drop below that again. We only extend forward for here. And that's something that we failed to do, mate. So I think Brendan's going to be playing his cards close to his chest, as well as the board. They're not going to come out and offer any contract right now. I think all eyes are on the January window, mate. And if they fail to back Brendan, and are they going to back him? Exactly. What did they back him with? How did they back him? We've already looked now and we're saying, two of us are saying it, mate. I think Maeda's going to be going in January. I think Hatate won't be very far behind him as well. These legacy signings, club signings that have been brought in, Shin Yamada, Inamura, to keep that market open over there in Asia, because Celtic are selling baseball tops and football tops to worldwide global communities. So they like to keep in touch over there. And I think that's what these players have been brought in. Brendan's like, look, that's all fair and good. I'll work with these players. I'll try and do my absolute best. But you need to be supplying me with quality. And that's what we're all eyes are on this window. At the same time, mate, I don't think if we come through the January window and Brendan's fully backed, that just stems fan anger as well. I don't think that takes it off the table. Like they say, mate, repeating the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is a definition of insanity. And that's what we've been doing with this board now for 20 years. They've been promising us the world and never delivering change. It's the full reason my ma left my dad.
It's going to be one of the strangest transfer windows, I think, mate, in January, because it's like you said, you know, the guys there basically for another 6 months. Do you back them, or do you just say, listen, go what you need, go with what you've got to the end of the season? The new guy's coming in, Ange Postecoglou, he's coming in at the end of the season, and we're just not giving you any money. It's going to be a very strange and surreal transfer window in January. So moving on, mate, that was pretty much it in Brendan's press conference today. I didn't really take much more from it. He was sort of, like I said, asked about the fan movement and stuff, and like I said, we will get onto that later on. So back in the 80s, Kaiser, back when I was a wee boy, I used to love when this photograph came out, because I used to get the centre spread of the Celtic view and get the old posters up on my wall. And this is the latest from the boys, the latest squad photo. Looks quite healthy, that squad, really, innit? But I think we're still missing one or two, especially up top, mate. I think that we're still a bit light on the right-hand side of midfield, or right winger, and definitely Brendan sort of touched on it today in his press conference. We're missing a striker, mate.
Yeah, mate. Looking at that squad, Scotty, if all those players were fully on form and firing, there's a reason that we're so dominant domestically, mate. You know what I mean? There's an absolute reason there. I didn't see Jota in that picture there. I was scanning the lines looking for Jota, and I see Alistair Johnston there, even though he is injured. And I'm like, right, where's Jota then? Scanning the squad for Jota. He must be away globetrotting. He's away with old Jerry, isn't he, on that cruise? He's away living with the big man. Look, mate, me as well. I used to pick up the Celtic view when the squad photo came out, open up the centre staples and take it right out the middle, double spread, and it was straight on the wall. Yeah. It's a memory we all remember from our youth. Absolutely love it, mate. Looking at the squad, we don't look like severely underweight, but you can tell in the areas straight away. I'm looking at our left back, who's on loan and only on loan. There's no option there. Yeah. I'm looking at Yang on the right wing. I'm looking at Yamada. I'm looking at everything, mate. Puzzi standing there in the background as well. That's the first time I've seen Puzzi. Jesus Christ, there he is there. I thought the man was with. I thought he signed him for the James McCarthy select, mate. James McCarthy, 5-a-side. Some of these players just seem to go missing at Celtic. But look, we look to have quite a strong squad. Some young talent coming through there, Kobe Donovan, Dane Murray, some really good players in there in that mix. And when we're firing, when everyone's firing on all cylinders, we've got a really, really good squad and we can do some damage, mate. But Brendan is 100% correct. If you were looking at that and we perhaps had a quality right winger of the quality of Jota or Tenecti, right, on the right-hand side, if we had that quality over there and a striker who was, like, I like Iniacho so far, mate. He's very much a Brendan player. He comes in, he drops deep, he picks up the ball, he initiates play, and he's on the end date to finish it as well. He drops deep and he gets back between the sticks. Ideal for me, mate, right now. But he is a very short-term solution. He's here for a year and an option to extend for another year. It's something we need to really be looking at, mate, and bringing in. If we would have been brought in Dolbeck when we were in the market for him, and I was calling him Whoopi Dolbeck, Dolberg, innit? Whoopi Dolberg. If we'd have brought him in, mate, right, then I'm like, that's a signal of intent. That's us signing a real quality striker. Like I've been saying, mate, somebody who strikes fear into the heart of European defences. Not somebody who European defences look at and go, who the fuck is that guy? Who is that guy? We'll double up on him. That's what's happening to Tenecki right now as well. That's what's going to happen for the rest of the season. They're just going to double up on him on that side. And that's got to open up the other side. It's got to free up space for other players. And how we take advantage of that space is what's critical, mate. What's this? Who do I think Celtic's best player is?
For you.
Mate, I think right here, right now, right, Tenecki is our best player. He's the most on-form player. You've got to go with form right now. Who's our actual best player in the squad overall? I would be still leaning towards Arnott Engels, mate. So young, so much talent, so much option for growth. He could really excel. He could go the way of Matt O'Reilly. But there's always your ever-presence players, mate, like Callum McGregor and things like that. I just wish they would recapture. Like last time Brendan came in and we all thought Bruni was finished and he came back stronger. Scottish players seem to get that when they reach their early 30s. They get another summer of youth, mate. We get Paul Hartley, Barry Robson, all these players who came when they were slightly later in their career. But it's something that tends to happen with Scottish players. They seem to reach the late 20s, mate, and they just evolve as men and they become more confident in their ability and they start playing the game better. Something that should be worked on for a younger age in Scotland, I think, mate. But something that definitely happens, Callum McGregor, if he can pick that ball up again and start turning in midfield and stop passing the ball sideways or back, that's what his quality's there for. So for me right now, mate, Tenecti's best player in the squad right now. I'm always inspired by Arnott Engels, and he's not exactly set the header in fire, but he's got that potential, mate. He's got all the assets there to be an absolute destroyer for us. And Donovan's one of our best players right now as well, so I can't see him getting dropped either. He needs to stay on. I think some of the players who I thought looked a bit shaky were Rio Hatate. Nygren sometimes flatters to deceive. Sometimes he can have a really good game, and other games he's just not in it at all. Kasper Schmeichel's flapped a couple of efforts on goal and stuff like that, and I've been looking at him a bit closer, and as well as looking at Kasper Schmeichel, mate, and I'm flapping at a couple of things. I've been looking at Vinny Sinisalo and thinking he's actually a really strong goalkeeping prospect. He's developed in the background. He's kept his personality in check, his ego in check, and he's more and more staking a claim to be your number one. I think we're approaching that time where perhaps we'll start to see the goalkeeping duties shared between him and Kasper Schmeichel, and Kasper will kind of fade more to being the background goalkeeper, being the number two as he reaches the end of his career, mate. I don't know if we'll still get another option for another year with Kasper Schmeichel at the end of this year, or this is that extra year option. But I don't really see him unless he does stay on, see like with Stevie Woods and that, and a coaching sort of bringing all that welfare experience and bringing that like we thought Joe Hart might do. Obviously an ambassador for the club. He's always speaking about Celtic. That Joe Hart loves us. We love him too. Kasper Schmeichel, is he going to be the same? Is he going to go back to his Denmark? Is he going to go back down to England? Is he going to stay in Scotland? We don't know. But excellent player, excellent experience, excellent mentality to have at the club. Much the same as Joe Hart as well, mate. So there's a lot of change coming at Celtic in it, Scotty, and you're kind of looking at it and think to yourself, right, is it time for a rip up and refresh. I hope we see the back of Peter Lawwell. I hope he gets caught for being a rat and talking to the Sun newspaper, and we see the back of him. He retires. If we're sticking with Brendan, I hope we back him fully. But if we're not sticking with Brendan, then I hope it's not a project manager or legacy manager. I hope it's somebody who's coming in with, pardon me, somebody coming in with ambition, mate. A young continental manager with ambition and a style of football, a dream, a vision, a brand of what he wants to play the Celtic way. That's what I'm hoping for, mate. And wherever that comes from, look, there's rumours of Sean Maloney being there in the back burner, and I'm like, right, all right, he worked with Pep Guardiola and he knows how to play that ticky-tacky football that Brendan loves and stuff, but that's more of a continuation of what Brendan's doing. And I'm not exactly delighted with all the football we're seeing now, mate. We went for a period under Ange where it was swashbuckling and exciting, and Brendan came in and he was a little bit more pragmatic, and we got not Ange ball and not Brendan ball, we got Broach ball. It was like a merge of the both of them. We were attacking, we were forward thinking, and also we retained possession, and we could see game management was excellent. We were seeing games out, but we just kind of fell away from that attacking mentality, mate. And that's something that, as a Celtic fan, mate, and as Celtic should be in this country, definitely in Scotland, right, and even in Europe as well, mate. Never give a side respect. Never give them it automatically. Make them come and earn it from you. Make them earn it with hard work and come and take your respect. And I think Celtic extend a bit much respect to some sides too often. We should be a little bit more disrespectful towards these sides. No in press or the way we deal with them or the way we talk to them, but just the way we play them on the pitch. We're the champions, mate. And it's your job to adapt to how we play football. It's not our job to change our football. That's what I loved about Ange Postecoglou as well, mate. A master of one craft is better than a jack of all trades. And I like the way Ange went, no, this is a football we're playing. We're going to play this way. We're going to dedicate ourselves to it. We're going to be the best at it. And really, you pursue that and you become a master of that style of play. And then the players have got that in the locker. We've all played a 4-4-2. We've all played in your traditional midfield roles. And the staff are still at Celtic, mate. John Kennedy, you know that, who did all Ange Postecoglou's training. The patterns I play, that's still there. That's all recorded in John Kennedy's head. That's why I'm like, it's all there. It's all at your disposal, Brendan. Maybe you've just come in and Brendan's just tweaked it a bit too much and he's made us ultra safe. You've got players who are good quality players who are taking the safest option as their first option, mate. And that's not what you're looking for, is it, for Celtic players? You're looking for them to be adventurous. We are the first side to bring the big cup home to British soil. We've got a reputation in Europe, and at the end of the day, I believe the great man Jockstein said himself, never play the legends. You can't beat the legend of a side, play the side that's in front of you. And that's what Celtic should be doing, mate. No respect unless it's earned. Just go right out there and ragdoll sides. That's what I'm looking for, mate. So if it is going to be change, I hope it's that kind of manager and not somebody who's into change the light bulbs and keep it running for another year. Posturing for the board and beefing the back balance and paying tax, because we paid out £12 million in tax, Scotty, and fans are still complaining about the £11 million that we paid for Arnie Engels. But Arnie Engels actually plays for the club. The tax man doesn't it? And he got £12 million of our money, you know what I mean? Spend that on a player.
Exactly, mate, exactly. And you're asking for us to blitz teams, mate. We haven't been on since last Friday, like I said. Everybody's been very busy with life. But we gave Partick Thistle a good showing, mate. I think it's the first game this season where it looked like we finally went up a gear. Decent result, that, really, to be fair. I was expecting a tougher game. The first goal was by Yang Kaiser. Nobody in the stadium, nobody watching it had a clue that he'd actually scored. He didn't celebrate. The fans didn't have a clue what was going on. I don't think Yang had a clue what was going on. It looked like it hit the side netting. Good ball in from Nygren. Same for the second one. It was a short corner. Nygren floats it in, and Liam Scales was at the near post with a nice header for 2-0. Then Tanetke, man of the match performance, played a lovely 1-2, got a cracking goal. And then the fourth goal by Luke McCowan, mate. We stole the ball back off Partick Thistle, who were dilly-dallying. Luke McCowan got on the end of it, and a nice finish, mate. So 4-0 to the boys. I know that you've done a watch along, my man, on your YouTube page, and that's something we're going to have a chat about soon, about bringing that to the podcast, getting our Kaiser doing the all watch alongs for everybody. He's let me know it's very popular, so we're going to get involved in a bit of that for sure. But Kaiser, so you watched the game. I didn't manage to get to see it till afterwards. What was your thoughts on the lad's performance? Definitely went up a wee gear.
You need to respect the opposition as well, you know what I mean? Partick Thistle there, they came to play as well, mate. They had a game plan. They wanted to be strong, resolute. As you said yourself, mate, Yang nips in at the back post and just a little nodded header. And I think because Yang didn't really celebrate, people would thought, oh, that's been a close miss. It's hit the side net and it's went the other side of the post. But it was in, you know what I mean? And it was a bit of a delayed celebration. But look, Yang has that ability, mate. That's why he can be so, cause of such frustration, because you do see that he likes to take players on. It's that final ball from him sometimes, that critical decision making just isn't there at his age, you know what I mean? Just that one critical bit of thought at the end. Liam Scales, he always has that ability to challenge for headers, mate. He's one of our only aerial threats. He's quite good at it. He always gets in, gets across the guy, gets that front post. He's actually well outside of the front post, mate, when he headers that. It was actually a really good header, a really good finish. And Netke's goal as well. I loved seeing him link up with Aniacho and the link-up play between the two of them. The way he fed him back in, a little dink ball, and Netke finishes. It was fantastic to see that as well, mate. Him getting a goal for the club. He's, as I say, he's been very endeavourous, great work, exciting player, one of the players that gets your bum off your seat. And very much in that Partick Thistle game, mate, it's the green shoots a recovery. It's like we're starting to get back to looking like we might go and kick on with a bit of form, you know, gather a bit of pace and momentum. Of course, a very, very hard start to the season. And I love the way Brendan's looking at it right now. He must be looking at it in between these international breaks as blocks of game. How have we done so far in this block of games? Well, we've done really well so far. You know what I mean, mate? You can't...
Considering the outside noise,
you can't keep... flogging a dead horse, so to speak. We know what the discrepancies are. We know what the problem is. We can see where the problem is. We're trying to change it. It's going to take a bit of time, mate. And it's not something that's going to be getting done overnight. These protests are going to continue. They're going to continue into the year. For me, mate, green shoots of recovery, it made me a lot more confident knowing that we were going away in Europe for a difficult away tie, that we looked quite solid, quite resolute, and we were creating going forward, mate, because that's one thing that's been really annoying us about is we've been defensively solid, passing the ball about there. It reaches midfield, it comes back to the defence, it goes back into midfield. By this time in Scotland, teams are back and they're in their shape. We're not moving it fast enough forward. It's very slow through the midfield and ponderous. And up front, we just looked like we couldn't craft anything, mate. We couldn't craft a Kinder Surprise toy up front. It was just, we've just been an utter lack of emphasis and enthusiasm, and I'm hoping Aniacho coming in, he looks like he's having a good time at Celtic, mate. Brendan's put an arm. Sometimes you get those kind of players, they falter at other clubs, they falter with other managers, but when they get a manager who puts their arm on them and brings them in and they've got faith in them, then he'll really perform for us, I think. I think he'll do really well. As I says, mate, green shoots of recovery. Definitely seeing the green shoots of recovery from us and starting to see us once again find actual patterns of play, which is something that's been lacking for so long. You know what I mean, mate? That's the way football's set up. That's the way it's done. Though they've got data analysis now, and the people go in and they'll look at every time we force Liam Scales on his left foot and force him to pass the ball out wide. 3 out of 4 of the passes they'll make, but that 1 out of 4 he'll make a mistake with. So they try and force him that way every single time and capitalise on the mistakes. That's how you play against sides, you know what I mean, mate? And Celtic's patterns of play have just been the same for so long. Teams have got us a wee bit figured out, mate, you know what I mean?
Yep, bang on, mate. You're absolutely bang on. So after the game, the draw was made and the fixture confirmation has been confirmed as well. I managed to get my holiday pass in last night straight away, so I will be off for it. and it is on Sunday, the 2nd of November. Kick-off is 2 p.m. at our home stadium of Hampden Park. We will be taking on the Sad Bear 69ers, Kaiser. I think it's a very good time to be getting them, mate. They're in complete disarray. I was delighted to see the draw. What was your thoughts yourself?
Yeah, look, mate, it's one of the things when it comes to playing that mob, isn't it? Every time I look at us and I think, look, we're going to savage this mob, and we go out and we underperform. The players don't turn up. They elevate their game. They play a bit better. They run a bit harder. They run a bit longer. And quite fitting that we've drew the last few of them, mate. You know what I mean? And definitely the last one at Ibrox as well. Quite fitting that was a draw. But for me, mate, it always feels like when I look at the games, I'm like, too many of your players just didn't turn up there. Too many of them didn't hit the ground running, and it's always in midfield, mate. Always Rio Hatate, he doesn't perform the way you expect him to perform. Yeah. Callum McGregor's man-marked, and Sad Bear 69ers, they're so good at it, mate. They were schooled under Clement for so long. Like I says, mate, they were dedicated and built to just taking us apart. That's why they faltered against other teams in Scotland, because they couldn't change their style of play to adapt and beat lesser sides. They had drilled so hard and drilled so much about recovering and recover the ball and break it pace, recover the ball and break it pace. So that's how when we are playing slowly and trying to be ponderous and pass the ball about, they're right on top of us. They're kind of our kryptonite right now, mate. As much as they're shite, they're our kryptonite. So they overperform against us and we underperform against them. So as much as I'm looking forward to the time, mate, I'm more like ultra confident that we're absolutely going to smash them, because usually when I feel like that, it's a much tighter affair and it's a much tighter game. But sometimes when I feel now, I'm like, this is going to be a tough tie, this will be a tough game, maybe go all the way, you know what I mean? This is going to be a tough one. Then Celtic do come out and smash them. So I'm hoping it's one of the times, mate. But as the draw came out, mate, and they drew Celtic first, I was like, home tie it is. And then I was like, somebody in the chat had went, it's at Hampden, Kaiser, because they put Rangers on the screen first. And I was like, typical. They always get them in first, mate. They announced them. We were the first ball drawn out, and they announced them as the home side. You know what I mean? I'm just like, right, whatever this establishment, they're always just like unlovers, aren't they, mate? They just try to get them in, get them pushed onto the forefront. And that's one of the reasons why they're in so much trouble right now, mate, is not only the fact that their manager seems to be incompetent, the way they're playing, they have no direction, no mentality, no winners mentality. A squad of losers, they're serial losers. Nothing's really been changed there. They've been going through mere rebuilds in the Lego Kingdom, mate, in an earthquake zone. You know what I mean? And they just keep on going through it and through it and through it, and the press just refuse to allow them time to build or anything. They keep pushing them as the top side. They keep pushing them and pushing them forward, and it's just setting them up for a fail. But like you said yourself, mate, right? Look at the questions that Brendan faces in his presser. It's always coming right back to Daizen Maeda, because they know they've got a wee gap there. They can get their fingers between the creases and they can start pulling maybe enough something good. You don't see them every single interview asking Russell Martin about Nico Raskin, do you? Even though he was dropped at the side and they all went swimming and then hill walking. And you know what I mean, mate? You don't see the press going and being ultra negative with everything on their side of the city. As a matter of fact, they do their best to spin it in a positive light. And it's the opposite at Celtic. It's always diminutive. They're always putting us down. They're always looking for the things that are going wrong. They never want to talk about the birthday card pish. You know what I mean, mate? There's just none of that comes for the press now, and there's no enough of it that comes for the club. I don't mean birthday card pish. I mean meaningful communication. A 5-year plan. Let the fans know what the plan is. If we know what the plan is, we're all singing for the same hymn sheet, and we'll attack it. We'll go and we'll achieve greatness. But when we don't know what the plan is, like I says, mate, they like to just keep us in the dark. It was a big bugaboo since COVID, mate. That's why we ended up there swinging sharks about, because during a global pandemic, the board decided to cut all lines of communication with the support, and we were all dubbed in our homes and stuff, and we needed that. We needed that outlet, that communication, that sense of community that we got for still supporting Celtic. People with their cardboard cutouts in the stadium and that, paying your pass to watch it on Celtic TV for the full year. even though you'd bought a season book, you got a Celtic TV subscription for it. Like, they really need to stop trampling us, mate. You know what I mean? In my opinion, because that's what they're doing. They treat you like customers, but at the same time, the customer's always right, and that's paramount in business, but not at Celtic. We're treated like customers when they want more money, but then they treat us like fans again when they want more commitment. And there's no loyalty in modern football, mate. There's none of that. Something that I often joke about with my mate. I say, like, you think Dyson Maeda would show a bit more loyalty towards Celtic, and he's like, well, how if he plays 2 shite games? We're all like, get him, Tafe, get him off, get him, Bolt. Where is the loyalty for the fans to maintain going through that? It's a very fickle business. We're a very fickle support at times as well, mate. We done it to Adam Ida. That's one of the reasons he's on his way out the door. When, well, he is out the door. When it's, in my opinion, it wasn't Adam Ida's fault. He's just a different kind of player to what Brendan Rodgers needs on his side. He needs a striker who likes to drop deep, pick up the ball, initiate play, feed it wide, let the wingers do the work running down the wing, and then get yourself back in the box. It's just that halfway sprint, mate. A player who does what Iheanacho's doing and does all his hard work in that area will absolutely thrive in a Brendan Rodgers side. A player who's looking for balls in over and running onto them and running in and finishing, well, you're not going to have as easy a time in a Brendan Rodgers squad, because that's not the way we play. That's just we just never look for that direct ball over the top. It's just not something that we do, mate. That's why Maeda, even though he is a very good centre forward, mate, that's why he will struggle playing centre forwards for Celtic. And I think you hit the nail on the head, mate. Even if Maeda does go back out onto the left hand side, I don't think he displaces Tenetke right now. I think Tenetke's form's so good, and we're enjoying that so much. The ability to take a man on with pace and skill and beat a man. I don't even think Dyson Maeda gets that position back right now. He's sort of threw all these cards in. I want to be the centre forward. Right, well, be the centre forward then, Dyson. You know what I mean? It's going to be hard work for him, mate.
Yeah. So, 2nd of November, 2:00 kick-off at Hampden Park. Celtic versus the Rangers in the semi-final of the Premier Sports Cup. Let's hope we're hitting top gear by then. So there was another game, mate, on Wednesday night. The boys went to Red Star Belgrade and put in a very good performance for me, Kaiser, especially in the second half. I thought the first half was an absolute terrible watch. This was the starting lineup that Brendan ended up going with. We touched on it earlier. He hooked Maeda, the anonymous Maeda, at halftime, and Iheanacho came on at halftime and changed the game, mate. Really, we could have had 2 or 3. Negrin had a good chance. Iheanacho had 2 good chances. He stuck one of them away very comfortably. It was a very nice goal. But I think the thing that pissed everybody off, mate, was the goal that we conceded. The big lad that used to be at Stoke, I think he had 4 players on him, and he managed to, stick it away. What was your overall thoughts on the game? And I did put it in the chat, and I put it in the Discord page. I thought it'd be 1 each. I called that bang on. I thought it was going to be 1 each. It was 1 each. It was a good point, mate, for me, and it gets us off to a good start in the Europa League campaign.
Yep, I had backed to Scotty to win that game 2-1. And on the balance of play, when I was watching even the first half, I was like, right, Celtic have been terrible in the first half, but we can't get any worse. We can only get better moving into the second half. And Celtic tend to do that. They tend to have a half of football where they can be a bit absent. And then in the next half, we'll turn right up and turn it on. For me, mate, it's Brendan's system. It's the 3 people we've got in midfield are just no industrious and no bringing enough quality. And it's when I look around the squad, mate, I'm like, look, Kieran Tierney bombing down that left wing. That's amazing. But now he's bombing right into Tenecte. And you're like, you either dedicate yourself to playing with those wide bombing on wingers that cross the ball in, and you facilitate the squad for that. Like a couple of players up there who are going to get themselves in the box and score regularly with the head, mate. A couple of players like that for all these crosses that we get through these games would be fantastic. But we seem to be it's like we're trying to build Frankenstein, and we've picked all the best parts for each place, and we're just not putting it together right.
Yeah.
But I do get the feeling that time will come, mate, and it will come when we least expect it this season. usually at the business end of the season, running into towards the end of the season, it seems to have rolled on from last season, which was a very flat finish, and it rolled into the start of this season. We were still very flat, lacking dynamics of play, lacking a real identity to our play, mate. We seem a bit disjointed all over the pitch. For me, look, definitely in Scotland, mate, I would be playing a 3-4-3. I'd put an extra man in midfield. We've got all the quality players. We've got the best squad in Scotland. We've got the deepest pockets. We've got the deepest squad depth for quality. I would play with the Freeman at the back. I would play CCV in the middle. And as much as he's probably been our absolute best defender this season, Liam Scales, I would have him swapping with Carter Vickers. So I would have Liam Scales off to begin with. I'd have Kieran Tierney, Colby Donovan and CCV. And if anything happened there, Knox, injury, anything like that, even a 3-5-2 as well, mate, we crowd that midfield. That's the problem against that mob as well, mate. We just don't crowd the midfield. And they've got an extra player in there and it kind of overballs us. It makes them look better than they really are. And like, you just got to get on that competitive front, especially in the middle of the pitch, and absolutely strangle games. Have players bombing forward then. We've not got Greg Taylor inverting anymore. And that makes a real big difference in all, because he was, in essence, when we were going forward, that was a 3-4-3, because Greg Taylor was pushing into midfield. Liam Scales would drop a little bit wider and plays that left back in a back three, mate.
Yeah.
So we've not got that anymore. So then you need to set up for that. Then you need to set up with that dynamic. If that's what was working for us so well, then we need to go back to that. And okay, in Europe, mate, we can be a wee bit more problematic. Maybe go the 4-3-3 again and ask somebody to push through. Maybe when Big Trusty comes back, he's got a bit of pace and a bit of recovery pace. Kieran Tierney's got pace there as well. There's a lot of dynamics to it, mate. For me, when we're playing away and stuff in Europe, a bit more pragmatic, but domestically at home, we should be overballing the midfield and absolutely ripping teams apart, mate. And we just don't do it enough. We've settled for we won 1-0. Where is the last result where we, like against Partick Thistle, mate, where we got a few goals and you start to see the shoots of recovery and you're like, I want to see more of that. And I'm the same as you, mate. I think the point that we earned on the road in Belgrade, I think that's a very, very good point. You're not going to win all of these games. They're domestic champions as well, very much in the ilk of Celtic, domestically dominant and failing to achieve in Europe. They're lacking a spark as well. And I think both sides kind of cancelled it. I never felt any threat for them or any danger, mate. I never watched that game and thought, well, Jake, it's on a shaky peg here. And definitely when we got a goal ahead, I think if we got another goal ahead, if we'd went two up, they would have accepted the defeat, mate. They looked that kind of side that if you get a couple of goals in front of them, they're not really going to come and fight back. They didn't really have that drive and fight. I think we let them off the hook, mate, with him getting that goal as well. That was something that was so frustrating about it. Should have been a 1-0 game. One each kind of suits them even better. They want to watch with that. And we kind of dropped 2 points and picked up one instead of getting the full 3 points for the game, mate. But I'm looking forward to the games at Paradise as well, mate. That's where our checks are wrote into at Paradise. That's where we cash the checks. That's where we put big teams to the sword at Paradise. So, look, mate, I'm still excited about the Europa League. I would like to say I'm not excited about it. I'm raging. I'm not going to buy tickets. But I'm not going to buy a ticket if I get a chance. You're so few and far between, when you get to actually go and watch Celtic, because usual season book holders and the home ticket scheme, these people jump on that. So there is a large community of people out there who are still going to buy the tickets. Hence the, look, buy a ticket, don't buy a ticket. Support the protest, don't support the protest. It's a personal choice. It's individual to everybody. Nobody's telling anybody what to do and what not to do. And there's no mentality of picking on people because of it either. Just support the squad your own way. You know what I mean, mate? Support the protests if you want. Don't support them. It's up to you.
Bang on, my man. Bang on. And one thing we like to do in this podcast, mate, is support some of our ex-players. And there wasn't just Europa League games on Wednesday night. There was a wee game in Glasgow last night as well. And one of our former players, Kaiser, he turned up. We never seen much of him at Celtic, but last night he was the star of the show. What a performance for this boy last night.
Mate, he could have had a hat trick. You said it yourself. He could have had a hat trick. Yeah, I thought all was fantastic. See, just like the way he played the front line. Like I says, mate, we were never going to see that from him at Celtic. He was a player who got brought in, and some could say brought in on the cheap, too cheap, throwaway player for some of our fans. Like, he's terrible. He's got potential, but he's very raw. He's very raw. He's not so raw anymore. He was absolutely excellent. I watched the game last night, mate. I thought to myself, actually, he's developed a little bit physically. He always had that. Remember with Georges Giamakis? You've seen him when he scored, he whipped his top off, whipped his brow off. He was solid, mate. I'm like, go on, big Spartan. He's over there trying to kick the onion bells. Doing a well, mate. Spartan performance from him. And of course, I seen how much it meant to you as well. I think that was a real point of contention as well, mate. He knows, like, maybe, let's face it, mate, coming from South Korea and coming to Scotland, that's his one big, massive chance to get into European football. It never quite worked out for him at Celtic, but I certainly seen him show his passion and commitment. He did whip his bra off, mate. He did whip his bra. Had one of these sports boys on. I was going to buy myself one, but I'm like, I don't even play football, mate. You know what I mean? I'd just be wearing it for visual effect.
Brilliant. It was good to see. It had to be him that got the goals. So moving on, mate, the big talking point in the day coming out of Celtic really is further action from the fans.
Mm-hmm.
There is no sound like silence. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the next steps that the fan groups are going to be taking. A mixed bag with this, Kaiser. A lot of people are saying, support the team and sack the board and don't support the board and things like that. We'll have a wee talk about it in a minute, but is this silence, is it helping the team? So I'll just read this one out and I've got a few more slides after this, Kaiser. So as the Celtic board continue to ignore the concerns of the Celtic support, we're launching a 3-match home package which reflects their silence. So against Hibs on the 12th minute, against Braga on the 29th, and against Motherwell on the 32nd minute. The silences are designed to reinforce the importance of Celtic fans to Celtic Football Club by demonstrating how a silent stadium is in nobody's interest. We hope that the silent package may be called off at any point should reasonable progress be made by Celtic Football Club, engaging in credible communication with supporters, or there being movement in personnel from the Celtic board. The Celtic board cannot continue to commodify our passion while ignoring our concerns. So that's from the Celtic Fans Collective, Kaiser, and there is some key questions that are being asked. I'm not going to read all of these out, but I will read the questions out, and I'm sure you can come up with the answers and the people in the comments as well. So what is a silent protest? What will a silent protest achieve? What about back the team? And what will happen next? What if I don't want to stay silent? As we've seen on the 12th minute, the Kilmarnock game, Kaiser, not everybody took part in the 12-minute walk-in. There was some that decided that they wanted to see Celtic from the beginning, and that's fine. It's up to them. What if people don't want to stay silent? That's another thing as well. And what if Celtic score a goal? I mean, no Celtic fan in the world, Kaiser, is going to sit silent if Celtic score a goal. But first of all, what do you think of the statement from the Celtic fans? First and foremost, the 3 home games, the 3 home package, staying silent. And what about those sort of pertinent questions as well that everybody's going to be asking? Lots to talk about, mate. Fire away.
Yeah, I think there's the first one, mate, on 12 minutes. Is that on the 12th minute, everybody goes silent? How long do we stay silent for? And then the next game on the 29th minute, everybody goes silent. We stay silent for what? Are we
the rest of the game, mate, barring goals, I'm assuming, yeah?
Aye, the rest of the game. Aye, that's... For me, mate, look, you back your team. It's... Let the people sing, innit? You know what I mean? Get us in there. That's what we're there for. That's what the 12th man's there for. And of course, I understand the importance of showing the board that we are there. We are your main we're your main contributors. The lifeblood of the club is no you people. It's no the money that's in the bank. It's the supporters that are in the stand. Lifelong Celtic fans. Some multi-generational had a seat in the stadium. It was their father's seat and now it's their seat and stuff like that, mate. So how are you going to tell people how to cheer for your team or how not to cheer for your team? Personally, mate, I think there's only one way that we can really get at the board, and that's tanking their profits on the merch. At the end of the day, the board knew exactly what they were going to do coming into that summer window, right? And I can give you an example of how I know they knew exactly what they were going to do. And not only did they know that, they actually predicted what our reaction would be to that. That's why they released so many kits, mate, before the window. 3 kits and a warm-up kit we got before the window. So they knew that merch was going to be targeted by Celtic fans. So they got it out nice and early. Lots of people went and bought it. The people who were going to buy it bought it, didn't buy it. So targeting the merch, it's kind of it's no going to have as dramatic an impact straight away until we roll into next season. And if these protests are still going on and we're still targeting the merch, for me, mate, back a team, sing your heart out, be the 12th man that Celtic need. We need this in every situation. We've already says the team can look a bit ragtag at times. Green shoots of recovery right now. The last thing you want to do is take a lawnmower to your grass when you've got green shoots of recovery, mate. That's the last thing you want to do is cut the noise, cut it down for me. I'm encouraging people, mate, to do exactly what they want to do. See if you don't want to take part in the GB directed protests and the YGB. I've got a spot on the steering group. I can understand why GB and North Curve, who are the same thing, mate. It's the same thing. Why they've got 2 seats in the steering board, I don't know. Why it seems to be driven and directed largely from the GB because they put out a survey. It makes no sense to me why they are at the forefront of the movement. And I understand all the singing, the noise and the colour that comes for the GB is fantastic. But there's a lot of things that come for the GB and there's a good reason why the board don't talk to them as well. And they're the ones demanding communication. They're representing us demanding communication. So for me, mate, it's every fan protests in their own way. Me, I've decided to protest by not buying any merchandise. I don't buy any food at the stadium. I don't buy any drinks at the stadium. I don't buy any Celtic merchandise. I don't go to the Celtic store. I won't go to the new Celtic store that they've just opened in the city centre. Big, massive store. Looks absolutely beautiful, mate. Absolutely beautiful. And at this time of year, I've got 4 kids, mate. They're starting to pile on the pressure for the Celtic strip, for the big man coming. And I want my training gear and all the money that I usually put into Celtic because I don't have a season book. I spend roughly probably more than the value of a season book and buying all that merchandise. You know what I mean, mate? So it's that I've decided to go, no, that's where I'm taking a stand. I'm going to sing. I'm going to back the team. If Celtic score, I'm going to cheer. I'm going to go mental. I understand what the silent protest and all that's about. I understand that's your way of achieving change. I understand that. I just think there's more prudent ways to achieve that change, and that is fully hurting the board where it's going to hurt them. Bang, right in the pocket, mate. Target their pocket. And not only that, we've just signed a 10 with £34 million in merchandise last year. We signed a 10-year deal where Adidas get named an Adidas elite club for the kits and that they were bringing forward, and the releases of the kits is a slightly better PR package from Adidas. And if we tank those profits, mate, Adidas are going to come in with corporate lawyers and they're going to say, what have you done to make this happen? Because we've just signed a 10-year deal with you and we're in the first year of the deal. If anybody's going to hold the Celtic board's feet to the flames, it's other businessmen and international businessmen as well, like you get with Adidas, mate. It's them who are going to really come in and hold the board's feet to the fire for no achieving or no backing the team correctly and affecting merchandise sales. So for me, that's what I'm targeting, mate, is the merchandise. If I get the chance to a ticket, I still want to go see Celtic. If I'm going to see Celtic, I'm still having a beer. If I'm having a beer, I'm still singing and I'm still cheering, mate. Like you said yourself, look at the late entry. How many people took part in the late entry? It was a sizable crowd that took part in it. But then you've got people who are taking their kids to the game and they want to get in and get to their seat. They don't want to be stuck in the concourse. You've got people with disabilities, mobility affected, people with limps and club foots and you name it, mate, wheelchairs and wheelchair access. You've got all the people who want to go in and get to their seat and be seated and back the team. And look, all credit to them, back the team 110%. Nobody's going to moan at you for supporting Celtic. Nobody's going to moan at you for supporting the squad. And that's just the way I see it, mate. I've no tried to tell anybody, look, you're doing it wrong, you should be doing it this way, or you're doing it right. I've no backed anybody. I've no condemned anybody. I've just decided what I want to do for myself, and that's target the merchandise, and I won't buy it, mate.
I think a lot of fans are saying that the fans group have scored an OG with this silence. You know, the motto at the beginning was back the team and sack the board. You're not backing the team sitting in silence. You know, so that's what a lot of fans, especially in the comments tonight as well, are sort of saying. That they certainly wouldn't go to Celtic Park and keep silent. Yeah, it's all trial and error with this. You know, it's a new fan group. We haven't seen anything like this at Celtic since the 1990s. So I get it. But for me, there is better ways to do your protests. And sitting in silence for me is certainly not one of them.
Even with the fan group, right, I attended the first meeting as directed by representing this podcast, right, the Full Leaf Clover podcast. I attended that meeting. I submitted all my details, my mobile phone number, my house number, my email address. I put my name down for the steering group. I would have liked an email still letting me know what's going on, even if I wasn't selected for the steering group, which is understandable, right, mate? I said that before to you. I'm a colourful, charismatic individual, and sometimes people kind of look at me and think, Kaiser's a young guy, he's daft, he's mental, he's a good laugh, but actually, mate, I'm highly intelligent and I play it off that way. That's my armour, to play it off and pretend with comedy and deflect, you know what I mean? So I'm very good at that, deflecting using comedy, mate. But I think, in my opinion, there should have been a bit more clarification and a bit more communication for this group. Yet again, another group of Celtic fans get set up and people have alternate agendas, want their face to be at the forefront of the movement, and they're out there pushing it harder than other people are pushing it. I think your chat's spot on, mate. The comments that I've been reading in the chat is like, you're holding up posters and the board's scrolling on their mobile phone. They don't even care.
Yeah,
how effective is that then?
The silence is deafening, mate. That says it all.
It's just like, I'm online, mate, and buying a shark blimp. It's a wee radio RC controlled shark blimp. It's actually massive, mate. It's a big great white shark, and you fill it up with helium, set it off, and you can drive it with a remote control. I'm like, I'll get one of them and I'll start driving it, or I'll start a shark circling over the top of the board and make them so that they can't ignore us, you know what I mean, mate? Be right in their face, be in the car park where their cars are when they try to come into work and out of work. Really put the pressure on the people who you want to target. Don't extend that pressure to the team, to the squad. Back the squad fully. That's you hit a nail in the head, mate. Back the team, sack the board. And anybody who's out there and they're looking to do it their own way, these are some of the ways you can do it. Just because there is an organised protest group doesn't mean that's all that needs to happen. See, if you want to go up there and stick a banner up yourself, if you want to hang about outside Paradise and make it brutal for Michael Nicholson coming to his work in the morning, you know what I mean? Don't get yourself into any trouble or anything like that. Don't be violent or aggressive, but just let him know, mate, that it's uncomfortable for you here. Stand in that door and fart or something before he goes to walk in. Like, you've got to be smelling my arse every day here, mate, until you get something done. Whatever you need to do, you know what I mean, my man? Lie on the doorstep, piss him off, make him step out of that. Stepping out of that Celtic fans every day anyway, and crushing my dreams. So, for me, they three men there, right? The guy, Michael Nicholson, responsible for signings, cited by chairmen at other squads, and no answering his phone, agents and stuff like that, no answering his phone, unprofessional attitude, unbecoming of a Celtic chairman. The big man at the back, Pistol Pete, he's the guy pulling the strings in the background. He's like the evil emperor for Star Wars, mate. And you've got your money man there who's Mackay. He's self-flatulating, telling them they're doing a good job and looking at the bank balance and going, but look at us as a business. Peter Lawwell, you're like the Lionel Messi of Scottish business. You're on panels in European football with Michael Nicholson. Look at the money you've made this club with the players that have been bought and sold. You do good deals and they all sit in a wee circle and pat each other in the back. And that's just not good enough for us, mate. That is just not good enough for us at all. Look, that's it, mate. Fart on the doorstep. Make it as uncomfortable as possible. Got up there with a large gang of pals. Sit on the door. Don't let them in. Like the daft protesters against oil. Sit in front of the car park. Don't let him in the car park. Don't let him park his motor. Make him as uncomfortable as you possibly can. Within the law. Within the law. You know what I mean, mate? Nobody's encouraging anybody to be violent, aggressive, or do anything like we've seen in the past. Nobody needs a heated driveway, troops, right? Nobody needs a heated driveway. But make it as uncomfortable as you can and direct it at the people who we want to affect and try and keep it as far away from the squad as possible, mate.
Yeah, I think the majority, in fact, I didn't see anybody really, mate, to be honest, that was supporting this this silent protest, mate, in the comments at all. And that sort of says it all. So let's move on, my good man. We've got one more thing to talk about, and it is a big game, as ever, that we have tomorrow. Hibs come to Celtic Park, mate, and they're not really on the best of form at the minute. After that, Dundee United will play Kilmarnock. Hearts, our title challengers, are at home to Falkirk. St Mirren are at home to Dundee. Motherwell are at home to the fledgling Aberdeen as well. And Livingston have an easy tie on Sunday. They're playing 11th in the league, the Rangers. So let's just have a wee look at the SPFL Premiership table before we crack on, Kaiser. The mighty Celtic are, of course, at the top of the league as ever, with Hearts very close by. Dundee United, Hibs, I'm saying they'll not get off to a good start. They're sitting in 4th position, mate, but, you know, there's quite a lot of draws in there, as you can see. 5 games, 4 draws, but it shows you how many points the rest of the league have been taking off each other, with Hibs sitting in 4th. And let's just have a quick look at our last 10 meetings against Hibs, mate. We've won 7 of them. We've drawn 1 of them, and we've lost 2. We've scored 22 goals, 2.2 goals average in the 10 games. 4 clean sheets, and Hibs have had 1. The way they've started the season, mate, as I said, with the sort of 4 draws and stuff, we've started off very strongly, really, barring that 1 game in the Champions League playoff, obviously, but we'll not talk about that. What sort of team are you thinking Brendan Rodgers is going to put out tomorrow? It looks like Hatate's not going to play. I think he's going to go with Iheanacho up front instead of Maeda. We spoke about Colby, the young Colby on the right position, Colby Donovan. It looks like the Bricky's back in training as well, mate. So, I mean, what sort of team? You know, you've said Sinisalo as well. Would you see Sinisalo maybe getting a nod tomorrow? What's your starting 11, mate? And how do you see the game going tomorrow, pal? What's your scoreline prediction?
I think Sinisalo's there and thereabouts, mate. I just don't think right now he comes in for league games, more cup games. I would want to see Sinisalo in more of the cup games. So for me, mate, Casper still right now. Casper, it's still his jersey. Donovan at right back, KT at left back, Scales and CCV in the middle, keeping that back line kind of what we've been running with, keeping it cemented and solid. Moving into midfield, Callum McGregor, Ben Negren and Arnett Engels, mate, playing in place of Rio Hatate. Yep. I also see Tanetki on the left, as you said yourself, mate, Iheanacho through the middle, and Yang on the right. I think Yang played quite well, mate, in the last game. I was quite impressed with him coming on, and I think the fact that Tanetki's here as well, and he can learn from a player who has that craft to beat players, something that is dying for the game, taking on a defender and beating them with skill, not just knocking it round them and running with pace. That's a pure competition of athleticism then, isn't it, mate? Who's the faster runner? For me, I see him sticking with Yang, mate. He's on the right. We've got him. He's vying for a move in January as well. Those teams been circling around Yang. The more we play him, beef his numbers, beef his stats, we might get a better transfer for him and more money for him. So That's the way I see is like lining up. Sorry, my man. Pardon me.
Yeah, fine.
And I sees winning this game 3-0, mate. I sees that Hibs are quite a good side. You seen it at the start of the season when we done the league table and we all backed teams. I backed Hibs to finish second, Hearts to finish third, and I think the Sevco I said would be in fourth. Little did I know they'd be way down there in a relegation dogfight with Livingston this early in the season, because that's a big game for Livingston, mate. You see they've played one more game extra.
It's a 6-pointer, mate. It's a 6-pointer in the relegation battle.
Header. Martindale will be wanting to pod his wee baggy up, you know, mate, to the moon and be like, I could do this job in here. I'll get your team playing like my team, a big team of jobbers and loggers, you know what I mean, mate? Definitely. For me, that will be a very hard game for them. I think Livingston are a very tough, solid side. When it comes to Hibs, mate, Hibs are they're a good side. They play good football at times, and Boyle and stuff. Always dangerous to scoring a goal. Good pace. 3-1. That's another very good score. It could be as well. And as I says, mate, right, I usually do the watch along. I was going to set it up for the watch along for the game, but my mate's away to Turkey and he brought down his season book tonight, and he's like, "You've got the Hibs game and you've got a European game as well, Kaiser. So I've got to do the games for free, mate. You can't never let it get lost in the mouth. You know what I mean? You just take that stuff and run."
Good man. So tomorrow, our Kaiser and our Paddy will actually be at the game. So you should maybe drop Paddy a wee message, mate, and catch up with him at some point, get a wee photo, and we'll get it up. Yeah, and so the two boys will be at the game. So it looks like I'll be doing the post-match show myself tomorrow, which is fine because you all help me out in the comments anyway. I'm going to go for a scoreline that came up there earlier, Kaiser. I'm going to go for 3-1. I know you went 3-0, but I think Bowie and what's the wee fast guy again? Boyle. I think they're quite dangerous up front. I think we might concede tomorrow, but as long as we get the 3 points, that's all that matters. And like I said, I'll be with you after the game. The lads will all be back with you again on Wednesday night for the next podcast. But we'll see you tomorrow. Kaiser, enjoy the game. Paddy, enjoy the game. And your Jerry, enjoy your travels round the Mediterranean. Kaiser, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much, everybody in the comments as well. We'll see you tomorrow. And come on the hoops.
Hail, legends.
Hail.
Sack your board. Back your team.
With the folded clover on my breast and the green and white upon my chest, it's such a joy for us to see, for they play football the Celtic way, for they play football the Celtic way, for they play football the Celtic way, 'cause they play football